In Lesson 1, we are dealing with several aspects of Photoshop. One is layers, the other is selection tools, and the third is adjustments. So we have the toolkit on the left side of the screen of the workspace, and we have the layers panel, and we also have the workspace designated, and here it's photography. So we have a history panel open, we have the layers panel open, and we can see that there are two layers, one of which is ribbons, the other is rows. The ribbons is hidden right now. I'll make it active and by clicking on it, and also make it visible by clicking on the icon to the left of the layer. So this is the whole image as it is right now, and we're going to edit this and embellish it by adding another layer to the background layer, which is rows. And we're going to also edit rows to give it more contrast and more brightness. I'll turn ribbons off temporarily, make the background layer rows active by clicking on it, and I will add an adjustment layer which will bring brightness and contrast. So I will go into the adjustments panel, click on the brightness contrast icon, and that brings up an additional layer which is above the background, and because it's a top-down hierarchy of layers, the top layer, or the layer above the layer below it, that modifies the layer below it. So the higher up in the stack of layers, the more effect it has on what's below it. So brightness contrast, the adjustment layer is active. Go back into properties, and I have a dialog box. I'm going to make it brighter by dragging the brightness slider to the right till I get as much brightness as I want, and I'm going to add more contrast. So that significantly enhances the image, makes it more saturated at the same time, but also brings it up so that we can see it in a better image than we had before. Now I'll go to layers, and I'll make the ribbons layer active, and also make it visible. So we have a ribbon, which is a shape that's drawn. It has a color, it's a dark blue, and it has a typeface, which is actually Minion Pro. And it has a color, and it has some properties to the type which make it a little bit more of a 3D effect. We'll duplicate that in another layer that we're going to add, which will be a blank layer, and I'm going to make a ribbon which will be the opposite of the Happy Birthday ribbon, but the same color. And we'll put the name of the recipient, Elaine, in that ribbon. So let's go back to the brightness contrast layer, and let's add a layer. At the bottom of the panel, you'll see the Add the Layer icon. Create a new layer, so I'll click on that. I have layer 1. I'm going to double click on layer 1, just the text, and I'm just going to label it Birthday Recipient. So we now know what the layer is going to be. Rather than layer 1, it's a little clearer that way. I will make the layer active by clicking in it, and now I'm going to the first selection tool, which is the marquee selection tool on the left in the toolbox, and I'll right click on that and choose the rectangular marquee tool at the top. There are two tools in here, one is elliptical and one is rectangular. I want the rectangular. I'm going to draw a rectangle which approximates the happy birthday rectangle. Hold the left mouse button down and drag to the left. You'll see the marching ants. And now I have selected this area in the birthday recipient layer. Anything within the margin of these ants is now active, and I can work in this area. Anything outside the area is inactive, and I have no effect in there. I cannot do anything with that. So I want to work in here. First thing I want to do is fill it with the same color as the happy birthday ribbon. And to do that, I'm going to match the color using the eyedropper tool, which is on the left side. In the tool kit, eyedropper tool, I will click on the blue. And if I go down to the color picker in the tool kit, which is right at the bottom, I can see that the foreground color, which is above the background color, is the same color as I just clicked on with the eyedropper tool. The background color is black. We don't want that. So let's fill this rectangle with the foreground color. If I go to the Edit menu in the Photoshop menu and go to Fill, I get a dialog box and it tells me that I can fill with the foreground color, normal mode, opacity 100%. So let's click on that, and there's our color. They match. Now I want to add the type, which will be Minion Pro Italic. So if I go into the type layer, and this is the type layer toolbox, we want a horizontal type. So we use the horizontal type tool. Minion Pro should be our typeface, our font, and let's go to medium italic. Here's my cursor, if you can see that, and I want a central type, and the color should be the same color here as in the happy birthday. So now I get the eyedropper by clicking on that color panel. Click on the yellow and I've got the same type color matching. So I'm going to type in Elaine here. Now when I click with the cursor in the birthday recipient layer, I get a layer above it which is a type layer, and it's called layer 1. When I type in Elaine, it gives me, I'll click enter here, and I'll go to the move tool and just position this in the center. Now we can see that the type layer automatically becomes whatever I've typed in here. So this is Elaine, this is our type layer, here's our type. The type layer is above the birthday recipient banner or ribbon, and that's as it should be because it should be visible. Now to cut out this little tail in the ribbon, I'm going to another selection tool, which is the polygon lasso tool, and I'll right click in that toolbox, and we have 3 choices. So we have hidden tools in here, so I want the center one, which is polygon lasso tool. And we can see the cursor with an arrow in the top left, so we're going to put that arrow in the corner in the birthday recipient layer to make that active, because that's the layer that the ribbon is in. Let's click in the upper left corner, just draw that down, to about the center. Click again. Click in the lower left corner, I'm sorry, and then draw it back up to the origin point. You'll see a 0 or O for origin in the logo or the cursor, and then click again. And now we've outlined the area that we want to erase. So I can go into Edit Clear, or I can go into the Eraser tool. Let's use the Eraser tool in the Tool panel and just use opacity of 100%, and the mode is the brush. So we'll just brush this out. Now you can see that because I'm not in the rose layer, I'm not affecting it. I'm just taking out that blue part of the birthday recipient ribbon. So if I go into Select and Deselect, I can just remove the remainder of that was left over with the Eraser tool. I am not affecting anything below it because I'm not active with anything below it. So here's our birthday card. Happy birthday, Elaine. And this is what we were supposed to have created using the marquee selection tool, the polygon selection tool, a series of layers, the brightness contrast adjustment layer, and we've got the layer order as it should be. I can change rose to background because that is the background layer. But we are complete right now. So that's all there is to this lesson.